Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Before I get started with this really raw emotional conversation, and just wanted to check in with you and ask you how you're doing now that the seasons are changing. This can bring up a lot of, can bring up some grief, can bring up some discomfort and uncertainties as we navigate into the cooler months, cooler seasons and the holidays. So if you haven't yet, check out the podcast episode I released prior to this on, nourishing ourselves in this new season that we're in right now. There's a lot of shifts happening, a lot of change happening around the world, which could be really heavy. So it's definitely really important to find ways to ground ourselves right now. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a little quick intro about this episode. And as an FYI, if you are going to be listening to this for your kids, just an FYI that there is some cuss words in there, in and out. So if you are mindful about this with your kids, just an FYI, you may not want to listen to it while you're with your kids. And if not, then go ahead and let's check it out. In this podcast episode, I am speaking with Ashley. She's a mom of two. She's an esthetician, an entrepreneur, started her own business. Her path through postpartum depression, even having suicidal ideation, anxiety, deep disconnection led her to really a powerful awakening, and one that reconnected her to herself and her purpose. What started as a passion for facials and lashes has evolved into a sacred space where she now helps women experience not just outer beauty, but inner healing and connection as well. So in this episode, Ashley opens up about her darkest moments in motherhood and her healing journey and how she's redefining what it means to feel beautiful from the inside and out. All right, let's go ahead and get the show started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on a mother's journey to holistic health and healing. I'm so thankful that you're here. This is going to be such, an emotional one already because her name is Ashley, and we had a little conversation before actually having this podcast episode that had me emotional. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But she's been very inspiring, and I've been following her on her social media, which really touched me, and why I wanted to ask her and join her and invite her to have her onto the podcast so she can tell us about her challenges that she's had in motherhood and in her health journey as well, how she's growing through her healing journey, what she's learning, and what she can share with us. So yeah, I'm going to bring her in. Her name is Ashley. Come on in, Ashley, if you can tell us, introduce yourselves, where you're at, where you're from. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Marissa. I am a podcaster as well, so bear with me, guys, because I'm almost never the guest. I'm always the host. So my controlness is freaking out right now because I'm not the one clicking the start button, and I'm also the one in the spotlight. So this is new for me.
Yeah.
My name is Ashley. I'm from Espanola, New Mexico, and I'm a mother of two. I have a husband, and I'm also a business owner. So I am in aesthetics. If you don't know what aesthetics are, it's skincare, and I focus on lashes, facials, and hair removal via body sugaring.
Cool. Well, thanks again for being here. I really appreciate you being here and sharing with us. And how old are your kids? Can you share with us how old are your children?
So my oldest is 8. I have 2 girls. My oldest is 8, and my youngest is 5. She's about to be 6.
Okay. Oh, she's gonna be
Yeah.
6. Yeah. But I feel like that's like that age, because my son's 7, so kind of right in between like your girl's age. And it's like there are times when they're still like so innocent, but then they also feel like they're so, how could I
Big.
say, like they know everything. Yeah, right. But yeah, guys, so today, just really honored that she's going to be here with us today. She's going to just share really raw truths of motherhood, and how she found her way out, to her spirituality, and the work that she does today as an esthetician. Did I say that right? Esthetician?
Esthetician, yes.
Yeah, and the real deeper parts for her, what it means to be an esthetician, and it's bit more than surface level, like the deeper parts that help her to see the purpose and what she's doing in connection and healing with her community and her clients. So we're going to get into that. So thank you for sharing. So maybe you can also tell us like what, because I just want to get an idea of where you're at right now. I'm sure the listeners too. What is it that lights you up right now in this season of your life?
Honestly, hormonal therapy and where I'm at with it right now, I finally feel like I've balanced things to where I haven't felt this like mentally good in so long that I'm just like,
Wow.
oh my God, what like the things that I can do are impossible no more, right? Like I have the energy to do things where it's like a lot of the times in the past it was like convincing myself like I'd rather do something else or I'd rather not do it at all. And now I'm like, oh no, you have the energy, just do it. So it's now like
Wow.
getting my brain out of this really deep hole that I was in and being like, wow, I actually do have the want and the desire to do things. Like, even simply like, like, yeah, I have the desire to do those dishes because, like, why not have a clean kitchen, Or,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, I do have the desire to work out every day. And it's like, okay, it's not like putting this restriction, like, you need to do it every day. It's like, no, I feel good, like, right now, and I have the time, I'm going to do it. Right. So
Hmm.
it's getting me coming back to myself. I think that's what lights me up right now is like I'm finally coming back to myself.
Oh, I love that. It gives me goosebumps. Like that literally
Yeah.
just gave me goosebumps. You're little by little having more of like that energetic capacity to do things in your daily life that you used to do, but now it's like you're just kind of coming back to it.
Yeah. I just got like gas in my car again.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, yeah, it reminds me of like when we're in the survival mode in motherhood or wherever in our life, and little by little as we move through the healing process and do work that we need to do and get help and support that we can, and where we finally have a space to feel quote unquote normal or maybe more like ourselves again, right? It's like that they say so many years postpartum you start to feel like yourself, right? Which is gonna look different for everybody. It's hard to say when that time will come, but I mean for those listening, like it will come, right? I think if we just trust in the process as well. How did you feel about that? Like, did you ever feel like, oh, am I ever gonna get to feel like myself again? Like, what were your thoughts about and how you felt
I
energetically?
was never going to get back to myself. Truly, I think when my daughter turned 5 is when I was like, okay, I think I have the will to like actually take care of myself on basic needs level. Like, let's shower, let's eat, and let's work. And now that she's getting towards 6, I'm like, okay, I've accomplished all of those basic needs. Now I'm like, I think there needs to be a little bit more. Like I still am lacking this desire to do things. And it's like it's not that I didn't want to. It's like I literally didn't have the desire or the feel or the energy in my body to do it.
Yeah, which I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. And then either go to like, why can't I do this, or what's wrong with me, or did you ever have any of those moments too where like you were having any criticism, like critical thoughts or anything like that of why you felt like you weren't able to do things like that?
Yeah, I think I was very self-critical of myself. And my therapist would help me by reaffirming me and being like, you need to stop being so hard on yourself. Like, don't put so many expectations on yourself. But I think, when you have a partner and you live with somebody and they're on the opposite spectrum of you, like where they're super clean and you're like, I'm not actually choosing to be dirty. I just literally, one, don't have time, and two, like, I got into this place where the bare minimum was like, I'm going to get enough sleep, if anything. And I wouldn't say I overslept, but that was like everything else could wait, and things kind of waited till the last second. Like, okay, it's like, oh shit, I need to do the laundry right now because like I have one pair of chones. Like, now I need to
Yeah.
do that, right? But it wasn't
Right.
like, okay, your laundry basket's like full enough, you should probably do some laundry this week or like do it every week, right?
Mm.
So things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I had so much rigidity in everything that I was doing that I couldn't do anything, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, 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 absolutely. And and that just led to, like you said, just resting or sleeping and not doing a lot of anything really, like just which is a lot of us I think that can relate to when sometimes whatever it may be, whether it's procrastination or depression or anxiety or just not having any support or nothing, right? Sometimes it just ends up to, we want to do these things or we just don't have the energy capacity or mental capacity either, and just rest or sleep, I'm glad that you're starting to feel much better. Is this from, and you said you mentioned you've been doing the hormonal therapy. How long has that been that you've been doing that now that you're noticing some changes?
So I started in June, and I am doing something called BioT pellets. So they insert them in your glute, and it's in office. It takes about 15 minutes. It's painless. And so the idea is that they're bioidentical and they're absorbed through your bloodstream. And so your bloodstream absorbs it for a period of 3 to 6 months, depending on how fast your metabolism is. And so I went there, and then I had a follow up. They do your blood work, they check again after you've been pelleted. And then I qualified for a boost, and so I opted for the boost. The boost was free. And so after I got the boost, then we implemented DIM, which is a natural supplement that helps estrogen and detox. And then she also did give me micronized progesterone, which is not the same thing that's in Depo-Provera, that's synthetic. This one is also considered bioidentical and made from peanut oil. So if you have a peanut allergy, you probably couldn't take it. But that you take at night, and it's helped my sleep so much. So I just feel like everything's kind of, maybe I have a circadian rhythm now. I don't know, but everything is regulated.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you're starting to feel better, and now you're able to do, like you said, some of those things, and asking yourself, like, I love that you're taking that time and you're just asking yourself, wow, we have this energy, like we have this to do right now. Do you want to do this because you want to, right? Like really kind of making it intentional instead of just something that's just mindless, right? And you're really asking yourself, is that what you're wanting? Is that what you want to do? Yeah.
Right.
I love that. That's awesome. It's beautiful. I'm so happy. I'm sure that's been a big change and shift for you than what you were used to before.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just like, I want to do those things. I want to do dishes, and I want to not be like, well, my partner will get it, my husband will do it. It's like, no. So now it's releasing how things are done or when they're done, or if it's like, okay, if I'm available and able, I'm going to.
I love that. Yeah, I'm so happy that yeah, you're starting to feel that energy again to do that, to do those things. It's being really hard for a lot of us as moms to do that, whether we have the energy for it or not, or just the responsibilities and the things that we have on our plate.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. And how does it feel to just have this different space and like way of being now, since it's been different for you?
I feel like it's a different, interesting form of reward, because for so long it's like, I want to do these things. My brain says, like, I would love to do those dishes, or I would love to do that laundry, or I would love to go work out, or I'd love to eat a healthy meal. Like, I would love to do so many things, but it's like the fact that I'm actually doing them now, the reward feels even greater, and it just feels like, I don't know, my mental health is just in a happier state of mind instead of this like survival. Like, it's almost like I gave this analogy of like, on another podcast episode that I did, that it's like, I want to be surfing actually the waves. I don't want to just be on the surfboard, like falling off the board constantly. Like, I actually want to surf the wave and come to shore,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm currently on the wave right now, and it's freaking awesome.
Awesome. All right. I love that. Yay. Yeah. That's a really great way of putting it, actually. A really great analogy and visual is that you're on top of a wave now. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so cool. Awesome. Good to hear. So maybe you can tell us next about your business and your service, and like, how does it differentiate from other businesses in the beauty industry?
So I will say I started my business right before COVID happened, and I come from people that work for the state or work for the government. So nobody in my family has ever owned a business. And I had a falling out with someone I was working for. I was postpartum, let me think, October, November, December, January, 3 months postpartum. And had a falling out with the person, and my mom was like, just open your own thing. And so I had absolutely no direction other than calling places and like figuring out licensing, all these things. So What I want to say is I started from absolutely nothing but a massage bed and a chair and a file cabinet. So, looking
Wow.
back on that, I'm like, oh my God, and I was 3 months postpartum. And so I'm
Yeah.
just like, how did you do that, first of all? um,
Exactly.
and secondly, with through the years, so let's see, I've been in business, my daughter's about to be 6, so I would say 5.5 years by myself.
It's
And it
amazing.
took me about 3 years in to be like, okay, you always hear the one thing I heard continuously, even from people who don't own businesses, is like, if your business makes it past 2 years, like you're golden. And so by the third year, I was like, okay, well, I'm on year three. Like, this seems sustainable. This seems great. And so right around like year three is when I started my healing process. And then now at year
Mm.
five, I just recently, literally year five, I was like, okay, there has to be something else that I'm doing besides the service. And I
Mm.
started realizing that I focused on lash extensions, and let me tell you, people, a full set can take anywhere from 2 to 3.5 hours. So that's a lot of time with somebody, and you're on top of them. So it's like, it's very intimate. And so I felt like there were some people I'd get that weren't talkative, and then there were people that were. And I started kind of finding my niche of people. And it was like the ones that were talkative were like, oh, wow, we like can relate to each other. This is great. And then we started going deeper. Like as soon as I started healing and going deeper within myself, I started really like prying at other people, and they would have the same conversations with me. And so I started realizing like women go through so much. And I'm like, wow,
Hmm.
like we need to cultivate a community of understanding and support, because I feel like sometimes our home lives, our partners aren't as supportive, or sometimes our families aren't as, you know, great, or where we come from, right? Generational curses are real and they exist and
Hmm.
people don't change them. So
Hmm.
it's like,
Hmm.
um, so it was just really like
Yeah.
starting to narrow down the people in my community that really cared to talk about deep things. And then that's when I started realizing, like, well, actually, this is what's missing in humanity right now, is that people don't have relation,
Exactly.
you know?
Hmm.
And so I think that's when I started being like, okay, my service is more about, let me just beautify you. It's like, no, let me actually treat you from the inside out.
Hmm.
So I started realizing that when people leave, they would say things like, oh my gosh, why do I feel like I've known you my whole life? Or I just met you, and like, why do I feel like I've met you before? Or
Mm.
they'd be like, I feel like you were just my therapist, and then we'd laugh it off, right? Or um, like people would start being like, oh my God, I love you, and just like hug me and just like throw themselves on me. And so I started just realizing, like, wow, actually talking about things is really benefiting my community and the people in it, in the
Mm.
sense that we don't necessarily have, like, it's interesting, people will not pay for a therapist, but girl, they will get those lashes done. So
Mhm. For sure. Yeah, they'll find
yeah.
a way. Yeah, for the nails,
Exactly.
for whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So starting from 3 months postpartum, your
Hmm.
massage table, your chair, your file cabinet, right? Not knowing where to start, where to go, and you did it.
Hmm.
How do you feel like you did it? You went and started your business. How did you make that happen?
I feel, well, I'm gonna give my mom some credit that she did help with like the insane deposits you have to put down for renting
Mm,
space.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then I just kind of just, I don't know, I was going through so much. That's when so after COVID and our state allowed us to go back to work, because God forbid we weren't considered essential workers. Um,
Mm.
I went back. That's when my ex and I, my children's father, split up. And so I wasn't only like trying to sustain a business with absolutely nothing, but I was also in court and all these nasty battles, and also battling for my life, because at that point, postpartum had also gone back into this anorexic phase. And so
Oh,
I was just kind of in this really deep, dark hole. And I think in that moment, it was just like survival. It was almost like work was the thing I had to do to not survive for me, but for my kids. And I
mm,
just made sure I showed up. Yeah.
wow. So it was like your your children, but also was like, this is what we have to do to
Well, and it was the
so
one thing, yeah,
yeah.
it was the survival in the sense of like, this is the one thing that's going to get me out of bed today. Like, I have to do this,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
That's so
there's no one else.
interesting. Yeah, it was like you were taking self responsibility, and I've had conversations like this too with other mothers and entrepreneurs that when they were getting started and through the thick of it all, like that's what kept them going, is their businesses and getting started with their business, um, all in common. That's like something shared in common from what I've noticed. Wow, well that's amazing, just to see like how resilient and strong, like how what you can do to get done, right? Like it
Right,
shows you this is what you can get done. It shows you what you're capable of, like your capabilities.
right.
Yeah. Your work is also a way to connect on a deeper level with other women, your clients. How do you target your niche to connect the people that you want to come into your business?
You know, it's interesting because I think for the longest time, like even with the rebrand, glowing through it, it was like, what is that about? And it's like, I want to find people that want to be deep and real as shit. I don't want the fake shit. I don't want the like, uh, the
Mm-hmm.
entitlement type of thing. Like, I'm not here to like be treated like I'm a service provider. I'm here to be your friend. I'm here to be your support. I'm here to be your unlicensed therapist if that's what you want. But that's where I started kind of really targeting my social media of like, this is more spirituality. This is my offering to you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not just a
Okay.
service provider. Like, yes, this is my job, but this is my calling. This is what I do for my community type of thing.
Mm. So through your social media, through your content, how you express like what's important to you, who you're trying to connect with, right? Is like those people like will attract to that. Like who that resonates with, right? And
Right.
ultimately like that is the type of people. Is that how that you found? Is that has that worked for you
You
for
know
the
what's
most
interesting is like I look at my page and I'm like, okay, you could be scared of the woo woo. Or you could look at it as like, no, she's actually down to earth. Like that's really what I try to portray is like I'm someone that you can be soft with, you can let your guard down with. And so I used to think that it was based on like a spirituality thing, like I'm spiritual, but I'm not biblical and I'm not religious,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
people that see me know that, but on the page I don't think you can kind of see that. But I have people of all ranges. I have Catholics, I have Christians, I have Jehovah Witnesses, I have people that maybe
Mm-hmm.
have no belief in anything, and so I think I'm just like this anchor just to be an anchor to anyone. It feels
Mm.
like I can support
Yeah.
anyone based on whatever they believe or feel they do. I don't know if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, that makes a lot of sense because it's kind of like it's general. Well, it's not being like super specific and it's kind of relatable in different ways, like whether it's about growth and healing and like self evolving, like right, it's kind of all under one thing and it's wanting to connect on a different level, one to one, having different kind of conversations or um just not that typical like you go and you go for a service, either you chat a little bit about this and then that's it, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
versus the people who want an experience that's more than that, that's gonna
Right.
like nurture how they feel mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, a holistic way, right?
That's the word experience. It's an
Mm-hmm.
experience, it's not a service.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. If I was in Española, I'd be visiting you.
Thanks, Marissa.
Thing. I went to my lashes done, girl. Like I could not keep up with it.
It is high maintenance, but I feel like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
people find, like I said, there's more I offer than that. So
yeah.
there are people that are like, I like financially, they'll be like, I don't know if I could afford this, Ashley. I'm like, okay, babe, let me know. Like, I'm here with whatever you need. And then the next week, it's like they're here, and I'm like, okay, so what happened? They're like, well, like, I just figure it out. They're like, the idea of like not seeing you for 2 weeks is kind of crazy. So then I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
cute because it's more about our relationship than it is about the lashes, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. And that's a lot more meaningful, obviously, too, as well as that connection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how about maybe you can kind of share with us a little bit about some of the health challenges that you were facing or have been facing?
Okay, so we could start kind of on motherhood journey. I had my first daughter when I was 19. I was pregnant at 18, had her at 19. Um, and I was living in another state. So I was living in Colorado instead of New Mexico, and all my family was in New Mexico. But I had kind of had this blow up with all of my family. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just out of here. And so I kind of ran away, and I ran away and got pregnant, which in hindsight was kind of the best thing for me. I think most people would be like, "Oh my God, you just graduated and now you're gonna have a kid." And I was like, "Yeah, no shit. I think the same thing, but like, I think everything happens for a reason." And so once I was pregnant with the baby, we moved back to New Mexico, and I was like, okay, I kind of need support from my family. Started healing that a little bit. Like, I don't know how to be a mom. I don't know anything. Like, can somebody help me? And so I had her, and then I chose to be a stay-at-home mom. And right about 6 months postpartum, I was like in a really bad place, and I went back to the OB. And what I mean by bad place is like I had a home visitor through a community service that is called first time home visiting, first time parenting, whatever. And she was the one that was really like, yeah, I know you're struggling, and would just give me advice, whatever. She would come visit. And so it was things like I was breastfeeding, I wasn't eating, I wasn't getting out of bed, I was in a room with the curtains black, just watch TV, and all day would go by, and that's it. And it was like, well, I don't have to get up because I'm breastfeeding. Like, here's the boob. You want the boob? That's fine. And before I knew it, I was 96 pounds. And then I started losing more weight. And so I went
Wow.
to the doctor. I was like, I don't know what's going on. But I don't have the desire to eat. Like, I'm kind of, I was considered anorexic at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, well, here's an antidepressant. And so I think if I remember clearly, at that point was like, I'm not going to try that. Like, I read all the side effects and I was like, no, I'm going to pull myself out. And I remember leaning on my grandma a lot. So my grandma lived in Los Alamos, which was like a 25-minute drive from where I was. And so she would be like, well, as if you have enough gas, just like come spend the day with me. So I'd go with my grandma, and she would like help me with the baby. And it wasn't like I couldn't tend to my baby, so I wasn't in that sort of depression. It was more like I didn't have any need to care for myself. So I wasn't showering, I wasn't like eating, nothing. So basic needs were just not met on my end. But I was giving everything to this baby. My baby had the best outfit on. She had that hair bow in her hair. She had, I mean, she was clean, she was fed, everything. But me, nothing. And so then at that point, I kind of went through it. Then about like when my daughter was probably 18 months, it was like, okay, now it's been like a year and you're still not good. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Go back to the doctor. Okay, here's the med again. And I was like, okay, fine, fuck. Like, maybe I should try this. So I tried the med, and my ex was like, within, I don't know, like a week or two, he was like, you're fucking psychotic. Like, please stop taking that shit. And so I was like, okay. And I don't remember anything other than like maybe feeling more ragey, like maybe I was a little more ragey. And so he was pro cannabis. I came from a household where cannabis was the devil. It was considered a drug. So I was like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I want to try that route. So I ended up going to a different doctor and got a medical card and went that route. And I struggled with that too because I had almost no body fat. So everything was so strong.
Yeah.
But ultimately I started learning like different forms of consumption, like an edible versus smoking versus there's so many tinctures, all these things. And so I started just slowly dosing myself. And it is true, you get munchies when you smoke or consume cannabis in any form. And so I would start eating a little bit more. So I started eating a little bit more, and slowly but surely I started kind of pulling myself out of this. And then I was like, okay, I need to actually do something else. Like, I need to like go do something. Like, I didn't necessarily want to work, but I was like, I felt like before I had my daughter, I wanted to be an esthetician, and I let my mom convince me to go to a college, a university to get something in a degree that makes more money, right? Because estheticians don't make shit. That was her
Mm.
philosophy. Um, so here I am with my baby, and I'm trying to get out of this depression. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to go do what I finally wanted to do, which was be an esthetician. So I went to esthetician school and took my baby to daycare, and we went to school. And that was a roller coaster too, because she got sick with everything that was at that school, and so did I.
Mm.
So, but I graduated, and as soon as I graduated, I landed my next job, and I landed a job at a waxing place, and then I decided to try acupuncture. And again, coming from the background I come from, acupuncture was like
Like for
brujeria.
healing, you went for like for your own healing or to learn how to do acupuncture?
No, I went for my own healing. Like,
Oh, okay,
um,
okay, gotcha.
I felt like, okay, there's maybe something else I could try other than just smoking weed and working. Like, there's got to be something else I could
So
do.
you were thinking about other things you can do for your healing journey to help you your health.
Right. So I
Okay.
decided I'm going to try acupuncture. My mom was so against it because brujeria is like witchcraft, if you guys don't know the term, and
Yeah.
so against it. And so I started going, and this is around the time I started my job, whatever. And then I got this like headache, and I called him. I'm like, "Does acupuncture give you headaches?" And he's like, "No." And he was like, "I urge you to like take a pregnancy test." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I had a Paragard IUD, you guys, like the copper one. So apparently, sperm is not supposed to survive in a metallic environment. Okay. So I was like, part of me was like scared because it's interesting because like when your hormones change, your urine smells different. So I was kind of
Yeah.
sensing like, I kind of smell something in my urine. I'm like, fuck. Like, I hope not. And sure enough, I was pregnant, and I was pregnant with an IUD. And I was like, how, like, why me? Like, why? Like, I'm still riding this cusp of like not still myself, but I'm working now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm being more productive than
Right.
I was, but I'm still not mentally there. And now I'm going to have another one. Like, are you kidding me?
What
And
was it like
so
for you? Like, what do you remember about how you felt and like what was happening for you?
I remember in that moment, when I started kind of pulling myself out and kind of getting exposed to the real world again, like being a working person, I started really like looking at my life futuristically. And I started thinking, like, I don't think my child's father is like the person that's for me that I'm supposed to spend my life with. And like, I need to get myself together to be able to sustain myself and my children by myself without somebody, right? And so when I got pregnant with the second one, I was also working at that waxing place, and the owners could not bear their own children, so they were spending like 30K on an attorney to get an adoption going. And so when I was like, okay, yeah, I need to call you and tell you that I'm pregnant, and like you just hired me, it was also kind of like triggering because it's like, oh, here I am pregnant, unwanting, right? In the sense of like, shit, this is stopping the track record that I'm supposed to be on. Like, I'm supposed to start my career, and I'm supposed to start making money, and I'm supposed to start sustaining myself. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to take time off because I'm going to have a baby, right?
Yeah.
So, and also like, how dare you be ungrateful? There's people that would die to have this. And like, you're like, what the fuck? Why? And so I had to really sit with myself and
That's
start
interesting.
realizing, like, okay, it's not the baby's not the problem, right? It's my perception of me being held back. Like, there's so many people that have kids that work. Like, you're not going to be held back. It's going to be a pause for a second, but this isn't stopping your life, right?
Yeah, that mental perspective that you're talking about, right? Like you said, I believe this too. Like we think that things happen, yeah, for a reason or whatever, and whatever we're supposed to learn from it or whatever the case may be. Interestingly, that you're people you were working for were trying to have and conceive, but were having a lot of trouble. You did. It was happening unexpectedly. You were trying to get on your feet. Like this was all happening. And then it's like, okay, now what? What do I make of this? Right. And you were trying to make the best of it that you could in that scenario.
I will say I had a moment. This is something I really like to speak about. So, because I had the IUD in, I went for an ultrasound, and when I came to the doctor's office, it was an OBGYN office. She had a new assistant nurse practitioner, and I'll never forget after the ultrasound, I went to her and they were like, okay, we have to remove this IUD. It's possible you could have a miscarriage, but like the baby cannot grow healthily with an IUD. And I was like, okay. And so I remember the NP, the nurse practitioner, not the MD, saying something like, after they removed the IUD, she's like, oh, it must have been a really hard choice to decide to keep it. And that just like punctured my entire soul. Like as much as it was unexpected and I didn't want it in the sense of my route of my career, I was like, no, as like a human carrying this child, like I could never not want this, right? And so I think it was all in alignment with like being clear about like, no, it's not that I don't want the baby, it's like I didn't want the baby with this person again, or the timing of it, right? And so I was like, okay, well, now in hindsight, I'm like, I'm so glad that she punctured me that deep, because then I was like, yeah, okay, F you guys. And I ended up going with midwives and having a much better birthing experience the second time than the first time. So, yeah, it was just all these angles. And then, you have these outsiders that are supposed to be support, like these medical doctors saying things like that. And you're like, I never expressed this rhetoric of an abortion or anything to get rid of this child, and I already have one. So what do you mean it would have been hard? You know what I mean?
And to make those comments just in itself, like it's just not appropriate,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry that you went through all that. That I can imagine, what that must have felt like for you. And that's just it's a lot. It's really heavy. It's a lot to go through. But just wondering, like, what were some of kind of like those moments for you, like early on in motherhood? Like, what were those experiences where it was like maybe some of your most challenging ones, or whether it was darkest times, like early on in motherhood, in your day to day? Like, what do you kind of remember from that, from your either with your firstborn or your secondborn?
I think my biggest challenge with it was this idea that, like, it's something everybody always says. It's like, oh, like, are you ready to have a kid? Because it's not going to be about you anymore. It's not going to be about you anymore. It's like, that's all I heard. And it's almost like I adopted that, but not even realizing that I was adopting it. And I literally just did not, like, motherhood to me was, you don't even take care of yourself. Motherhood was like, you give everything to your kids, but you don't exist. And when I say back burner, like, we're not even on the stove. Like, you're not a burner at all. You're just not there. You're lucky if you're the clock on the stove. I mean, seriously, like, I think that was the most challenging thing for me. And then when it's like, when I was so down to the anorexia phase, there were some family members that were being judgy and thinking that I was on drugs, which was absurd to me. But I mean, people that do drugs are skinny, I guess, right? So having that judgment too of like, oh my God, people are actually noticing, like, it's not me just feeling it, like, people notice, right? And so I think the biggest challenge was like getting my head out of like, okay, yeah, you're a mom, but that doesn't mean that you absolutely don't care for yourself. And also, like, how the fuck do I care for myself now? Do I have time? Do I have time? Has anyone shown me how to do that? I mean, do I have enough support? Like, people say, like, it takes a village to raise kids, but where's my village?
It really does. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Kind of just like reflecting back to what you mentioned about, like, first it being your health, right? Like, you're obviously, well, you were taking care of yourself. You were taking care of yourself, what you needed to do for your physical health. You're going to the doctors, you were trying acupuncture, trying different things. You're trying the plant medicines, which I totally agree. Like, there's all just the misconceptions and misinformation about many different types of plant medicines that are out there that are really great for our mental health, for physical health, managing depression, helping with cancer, right? Especially when it comes to cannabis. There's just a lot of information out there, but yet there's a lot of judgment because of those beliefs that people have, or the misconceptions and misinformation about it, right? But like, you were being open to trying different things and seeing what you could do. So you were taking care of yourself by in that sense, in that way, right? By trying different things and going to see your doctor. It's like sometimes I think that we don't realize that it's because we're not like, we feel like we want to do it all and do all the things, but yet that takes time, right? And the support, which sometimes we don't always have, unfortunately.
Right.
Who were some of those people that were part of your support system that have helped you in your journey?
With my first daughter, my grandma was definitely my support system. My mom would like do like the take 2 weeks off after I give birth and help me like with the transitional phase. But aside from that, it was I guess my dad and his wife too, like babysitting. Like I look back and I had so much mom guilt in my early years with my second daughter because I fixated so much on working as a distraction, thinking like, okay, postpartum won't hit me the second time if I'm like working and not staying home. Like I can't be a stay-at-home mom again. Like I'm gonna drown. And then it's like, lo and behold, it fucking whipped my ass again. So, close family members. Right now, I would say I don't have much of a village, but I think I've sustained my business to a point where I am my own village. And because I am an entrepreneur and I work for myself, I can be where I need to be at the times I need to be there. So, yeah, in earlier years, I feel like people love babies, but then when they start growing up and they're not babies, I'm like, where are you guys now?
It's so true, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
because it doesn't stop. Just because they get bigger, doesn't mean that it gets easier. They just have their own challenges, and maybe some things change and shift energetically, and what they have the capacity for, just based off how they're changing. I guess if that makes sense, right? It's like my girls are 2 now, and yes, while they have more independence, I still have to be worried about what they're getting into.
right.
I don't have to be having them in my arm the whole time while I'm cooking or doing this and that, but I still have those worries. So there's always something, right? But yeah, I totally agree. Can you think of anything that you think maybe like for any of those moms listening, like who might be thick in the part of like the postpartum depression or like anxiety, anything like that? Anything that you want to share with them about some of those dark times, dark moments when you're feeling like you have nobody and you're alone?
I will say this is very emotional and raw, and if I curse, it's only for emphasis of how like deep I feel it. So bear with me. But I know exactly what you're feeling. I know that you feel like so here's the analogy that I think of when I think of postpartum depression. It's like we're in the forest and there's a trail. Everybody's supposed to be on the trail hiking, and you've gone off the trail and you've fallen into this hole. No one can see the hole from the trail, and you also can't, there's nothing to reach or grab up to pull yourself out of the hole. If you're screaming for help, if you're crying, if you're falling down, no one can see you because it's dark. It's black. Like there is absolutely no light. Like I know, I've been there. I think that cannabis helped me a lot through the means of like, okay, you're gonna have maybe an hour or two of this happiness, and you're also gonna eat the shit out of the fridge, and that's cool. So do that, right? Have no judgment of like, okay, maybe I do need to try something like that. If meds work for you, that's great too. Just try something. Acupuncture, I feel like would help me sometimes, but I think it was more like getting out in the sun, things like that. But I just really want to not be the person that's like, try this, try this, try this, to give you a to-do list. I just want you to not feel like you're wrong or you're a bad mom or anything. I mean, my depression got to the point where I was suicidal. I think the rhetoric outside noise can be so loud. Like people would be like, how could anybody do that? Like she just had this baby. How could she even think to do that? Fuck that. Because nobody is literally in your head and in your mind. And nobody that has been through it can tell you otherwise. And they can't judge you for it either. So I just urge you to find people that you can speak real and rawly to and hold space for, and people that don't judge you and have like negative rhetoric around it, and can really hold space and be like, wow, this is like really tough for you, and if there is something I can do for you, please tell me. Because I think a lot of my problem was afraid to be judged for it, and two, it was like, well, why can't I figure this out by myself, you know? And then when I do try things, it doesn't seem like it's working. So it's like also understanding that time in this essence does heal things. And I think if you diligently try to implement eating like a whole food diet and getting some sunlight, like going back to our basic roots here, I think there can be some shifts. And just being patient with the timing and not being judgy of the lack of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. It's really easy to kind of think about, well, what we don't have or what's not going well, obviously, especially when we're in a space like that. But it's true, it's like a lot of people who experience depression, any other kind of mental health illnesses and anxiety is like they could either be a functional person just going about their day to day and it not being, other people might not noticing it, right? But it's inside their heart, it's inside their soul and their spirit, and they know what's happening and the thoughts that are coming up, and versus the people who are unaware of what's going on, which is another one of those things of like, why, can't we try to be a bit more compassionate with people who are on the street and walking by somebody and at the store or whatever, or if someone we think is having a bad day and we make it seem about like we make it about ourselves when maybe it's just something that they're going through really hard, right? And having some compassion, which is probably really hard right now for to see right now in this season of our country, not just our country but the world, but just bring a little bit more out of that into our everyday lives, I think is a shift for anybody. And I think what you shared earlier about like the analogy of crawling into the hole and finding people who understand, who you can relate to, is really helpful too, because that's something that I also see when I'm talking with other moms. And in my personal experience too, is like when I had the hyperemesis gravidarium with my twins, it's like, yeah, you go to a darker place and there's also people who experience more darkness and want to end their life because of this like debilitating experience that's just taking from you, and you're like pregnant, but yet it's like consuming so much of your energy. You just feel so sick all the time. And so it makes me feel like it breaks my heart for a lot of people who go through similar experiences, like who are pregnant, whether it's postpartum depression or it's during while they're pregnant or whatever. And it's not making it about the baby. It's like they need support. It's like, how can we support them? How can we find someone to relate to where we can feel at least heard or just talk about our experience so we don't feel as alone, and that, hey, there are people who are compassionate and can and do want to hear and do want to listen, and do care because they relate, maybe not on the same specific level. But that's one part, I think, of that healing process, is looking for people who you can count on for support, even if it's just talking, right? And they're listening. That still counts as support, So thank you for sharing that, because that does make a huge difference, I think, for sure, just to validate what you're going through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I find, sometimes your parents, your own family are not the people that you can go to for that, because, there have been women that have had babies after me that are in my studio, and they're like, my mom's so judgy because I don't want to be with the baby right now. And she's like, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you want to be with the baby you just had? And I'm like, she doesn't get it. Or it's like people will straight up be like, I never went through that, so I don't know what you're going through. And it's cold. You're so sensitive. That's the thing that I want to urge, like stress so bad, is that postpartum, you are in the lotus form to its literal core. Like, please understand that the sensitivity, the emotional, everything, you are so sensitive to everything that is coming your way and how you perceive things. And people are fucking dicks. They are. And I say that with my chest because I mean it. Like, people literally are so insensitive. They don't understand. It's like people can hold a baby so delicately and let's watch its head, right? Why can't women with postpartum depression be treated like that? God forbid, right? God forbid that we baby a grown-ass woman. But that's literally what you need. You need to be nurtured. You need to be cared for. You need space. I needed space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's just this whole transition into a different version of yourself, where now, after just giving birth, just carrying the baby, all the changes, giving birth, postpartum, like the whole thing, right? I mean, it makes me wonder and reflect back to like, how did I don't know, our ancestors and ancestors before that and all that. Like, how did they do it, versus how things have really changed down our society with working 9 to 5s and this and this and that and less people helping you and whatever. Like, all I think plays a role in that too. And then we just lose that connection of support, I guess, or community over
Yeah.
time with the changes in society. I mean, it's sad.
I think our society has gotten so Western medicine, and if you believe that, that's fine. But for me, we have gone so far with like, if somebody's name doesn't have MD on the end of it, they're not qualified to care for you. And I'm the exact opposite. I want the medicina, I want the doula, I want the midwife. A midwife is just as skilled as anybody else. And it's like, we really need to go back into ourselves as women. Like, women were created with so much power.
Yep.
And for a reason, because we are capable
Right.
of this. And so I feel like these medical interventions are really just causing birthing experience to be traumatic when it's unnecessary. And so I urge people to kind of go back into, having births in the home and with people that are qualified, like midwives and doulas, and really going back into it being an experience, not a traumatic event where it's like, let's do this the fastest way. C'est la vie.
Yeah, I totally agree. I hope that slowly, one of the positive things about social media, right, is that we can, those who want to do good and uplift and plant seeds and just change the energy and change how things are being done now. And it's not change, it's just going back to how they used to be done. And it's remembering how those things used to be done by maybe some of our ancestors. And that even in that way of like honoring women, honoring the mother who's giving birth, honoring her postpartum. What does that look like? Is it bringing her meals? Like, what does that look like in the modern day? Is it bringing her meals? Is it like giving her blankets? Is it giving her a massage? Is it like, what is it? Like, how can we honor the modern day mother who is just giving birth or who is going through giving life, like during pregnancy? I mean, that is something that we don't think about, and it needs to be on more people's mind for sure.
Yeah. To give a little bit of perspective on, because I was able to have both of those experiences. And the first time, I had a hospital birth and I was in so much pain, and then I got an epidural, and it was like, as soon as I got the epidural, it's like, okay, Ashley, you can be the student for people doing cervical checks. And I was like, well, if I don't feel it, like, go ahead. And then I got an infection. And so then the infection was like, okay, now we need to get the baby out in 24 hours. And because you have an infection. And so it's like, okay, let's push at 9 centimeters instead of 10 because you need to get this baby out or you're going to get a C-section. And I'm like, I'm fucking 19. I don't want a C-section. Like, are you kidding? So then I push, and then it's like, okay, I have so much pain. I mean, even just the healing process was awful. I mean, months later, I was in the grocery store hemorrhaging. And going to the emergency room, and it's like, oh, well, you're fine. And it's like, no, I'm not fine. I've hemorrhaged 3 times. So then I have to have a DNC, right? All these things. And so after that, I was like, that's traumatic. I never want to have another kid again. Completely just not a good experience. But with the second child, I decided to do midwives. And because of my disassociation and my attachment not being as motherly as my holistic doctors would have liked, I opted for somatic archaeology, which is a form of trauma therapy that taps into pain in your body. And usually when you're laying down and they're guiding you through it, you have a texture, a color, and it's usually a traumatic moment that has stored in your body. And so it comes up to the surface, and the therapist helps you navigate it, create new ideas around it. Even simply, like, mine was a lot of abuse, saying, like, I'm sorry that you didn't deserve that. And you being able to say, like, you weren't allowed to do that to me. And so I was doing that while I was pregnant, and slowly but surely I started, like, more touching my stomach more, and like, okay, I have this baby, the baby would move in me. And so that was like the initiation into midwifery. And then my birth was completely everything I wanted. I had the midwife I wanted. I had the doula. I had the water birth. I didn't plan the water birth, but once I got in the water, I was not getting out because it's My God, you guys, it's 10 times more painful and heavier. And then even after, like they have birthing assistance. And so I drank a tea that prevented hemorrhaging. And then like afterwards at the hospital, they give you that, I don't know what the name of the spray is, but they give you a spray that's supposed to like numb everything. So it like helps, and it stung the shit out of me. But the midwives gave me like a powder of a Chinese herb, and I did raw honey on my diaper. And so I swear, like everything healed so much better. I even when I gave birth in the water birth after, everything looked the same. No lie, guys.
Wow.
My ex made sure to comment on it. And so I went to wipe, and the midwife was like, Ashley, you just gave birth. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, I literally like forgot. Like as soon as my belly deflated, I was like, okay,
Wow.
everything looks great down there. It looks the same. This is great.
Wow.
That didn't
Yeah.
just happen, right? So yeah, completely different. And even after we had
Wow.
a beautiful closing ceremony, like they literally held a ceremony and we talked about the birthing experience. We had Palo Santo. I did a yoni steam.
Oh, nice.
And we closed it.
For
And
those that don't
so,
know, yeah, maybe just share real quick, like for those that don't know what a yoni steam is.
oh my gosh. Okay, so I didn't know what a yoni steam was either, but let me tell you, it's the queen's chair. And
Yeah.
they picked herbs. I can't tell you what herbs, okay? I don't know if it's like dependent on the person and the healing, but it was
That's
a bowl
probably
of
true.
herbs, and they put steaming, boiling hot water, and you sat on it. And it was pretty hot at first. I had to like air it out a little. But it's meant to close the womb. It's a closing of the womb, and it helps your uterus, and it's supposed to help like menstruating after. But highly recommend it. Didn't know.
And we can do it any point in our life, right? I mean, we don't have to be pregnant, it doesn't have to be postpartum. It's a nice way to just cleanse and feel connected and even clean, within our lady parts. So definitely something there's so much stuff on YouTube too that you could look up on how to make your own. But yeah, I'm so glad that I love that you had that experience. You had two different experiences, which brings me to my next question, which is perfect because we talked about this on on our first time that we talked, how motherhood is so full of dualities, right? Like love and exhaustion, joy and grief, I mean, connection and isolation. What dualities do you personally, like what ones have you wrestled with the most, do you think? And how do you continue to navigate those today?
Duality is just like being in the raw feelings that motherhood isn't always sprinkles and cupcakes. And there is a very deep, dark side to motherhood. And I want to be the person that shares that side of things and give people a healing heart to it of like, sometimes I'm in a phase where I'm like, I don't want to fucking parent today. I just don't. Like, I can't stand them. Like, I don't want to do this today. Like, this is too fucking much. I'm overstimulated. Like, we always use that word overstimulated, but it's like really down to your core. Like, I have given so much to these little things for such a long period of time. Like, I am burnt out. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to acknowledge it. It's okay to even say it. Like, I want you women listening that feel that not to feel like people are going to judge you. At least I'm not going to. And really also understanding that sometimes surprise pregnancies are they're not a happy thing. Like, it's okay to feel like, fuck, I didn't fucking want this right now. Like, son of a bitch. Now I have to okay, I have to accept it. And it's okay to wrestle with the when I was pregnant with my second daughter, it was like I was doing lashes and I was like, don't acknowledge it. Like, I'd try to wear the cute maternity tops and people would be like, can I touch your belly? And I'm like, I guess, but like, no, like, don't touch me. And I just was very much like, let's just kind of get this process done with. And so I just want moms that have ever been in that place to feel like no one understands me and everyone's crucifying me for it. I'm not, and I've been there, and it's okay. And I see my daughter now and I'm like, what is your purpose in this life? And I think it's to get me to be more earthy because she loves rocks and crystals and like all the things that I want to do but just haven't done. And I also feel like she came into the picture at a time where I think my older one used her as a comfort. So when my ex and I split, she had Sissy constantly with her. So it wasn't like, it was like, okay, I didn't just like lose my mom for the week. I have my sister still. So in hindsight, I feel like she was the comfy cushion pillow, and she still is. She's squishy.
Yeah,
um,
there are teachers. Like I always say, like our kids are the greatest teachers for sure
yeah.
throughout our life. Exactly. Oh. What about your biggest breakthroughs? Like, what have been some of your biggest breakthrough, like healing experiences for you, whether it was through like your spirituality or like your mental health, emotionally, physically, any that come to you?
I think one of the biggest breakthroughs, and I was actually just realizing this driving the other day, I was like, how much I don't depend on my parents' opinion anymore. And that has to do with how deep I've gone with the trauma therapy. And I want to urge people to, I think a lot of people think therapy is like, I don't want to go to therapy and talk about my parents because I'm talking shit about them. And I want to urge you to let go of that identity because that is not real. Like, I feel like that is actually this wall that prevents you from surpassing the possibility that you could be independent. You could be independent in the way that you think, in the way that you believe, and in the generational curses that you change. And so I think when I got past this idea of like, okay, I'm going to go to therapy and I'm going to talk about my parents and I can't tell them, like, what? This is crazy. Like, I was born into this family. We should be able to talk about everything. And the more
Mm-hmm.
I worked and got deeper and deeper into the deficiencies of my parents and really definitively choosing to not repeat them, I started realizing, like, oh my God, like, I don't really think I need them now. Like, I want them in my life, but I don't need them. And so I feel like I'm more like my feet are finally planted on earth again of like, I can make the decisions I want to make or need to make. And I don't need two other opinions to be like sure in what I'm doing.
So that's like reclaiming your independence too, like, and your own authority to yourself and trust, right?
Right.
That I can trust myself now. I'm here for me. Like, I no longer have to rely on my parents anymore for this or this, right? I have myself. I can do this.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else that you want to add?
Um, yeah,
Any
I
other
think that's
breakthroughs?
That's one of
Yeah.
the biggest things. Also my breakthrough, another breakthrough is just continuously like when it comes to spirituality, I always like to repeat what I said with a friend a while back was like when you are on a spiritual healing path, there is never an alignment. Like you're not aligned. You're aligning. And so I
Mm.
want people to know, like, for the longest
Mm-hmm.
time in my healing process with trauma therapy, I always was like, is there ever going to be the day I see the fucking sun? And I'm like, I don't need therapy anymore. Like, I could be like, see you later. I'm good. Thanks for your time. Let's shake your
Yeah.
hand. Like, we're good. No, you have to let go of that idea that there is an end to this because there is no end. This is aligning. It's indefinite. And so
Exactly.
I think if you can stay in that mindset of being indefinite, it's a beautiful thing. And when you look back, like I look back even, like this is where I get emotional. This is so silly because I'm just talking, but even just talking to Marissa about like, just remembering like when I started my business and, I was 3 months postpartum to who I am now, it's like, oh my God, like if I would have given up, like if I would have given up everything, um, if I would have let the hard shit take me out, then I don't think I could be a pillar sitting here being able to voice how important it is to come back to yourself. Um, and come back to yourself because you fucking need to, not because someone tells you to, not because of, or maybe convince yourself that you don't need to because other people around you aren't. Like um I just look back on even just 5 years of my life and I'm like, wow, like I have been through some fucking shit. I really have. And um I even think about when I was in those suicidal moments and um the ideas I had around suicidal ideation wasn't that I was going to hurt anybody. It was how much I wanted to end the phase I was in and how much I couldn't fucking it felt like it was never going to end. That was the thing. Is like, okay, I have the power to end this. I could do it, And actively choosing not that route and actively choosing like to consciously try absolutely everything, exhaust all options that could reach me to my greatest health point, and just really, really, really attributing it to a combination of finding the people that think and believe like me on a spiritual level, and doing enough trauma therapy to the point where I am sustainable and independent in the way that I think and the decisions I make, and I don't need outside perspective or opinions, and really getting my feet in the ground to be able to express myself when I feel like something penetrates me in a negative manner. So also that, like, I used to be very timid and very
Yes.
like, oh, like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you so depressed? This is the things my mom would say, like, what are you so depressed
Mm.
about? What's so hard? Like, what's so hard in your life, Ashley? And it's like, wow, mom, like, if you only knew, you know? And so
Mm-hmm.
I I just urge people to do like significant internal therapy of ridding of trauma, because those voices and those noises outside here that people say that
Mm-hmm.
penetrate you, over time don't, and you start really standing up for yourself and being like, actually, you're not allowed to say that to me, and I'm valid in my
Yeah.
feelings, right?
You're
So
standing up for yourself and those other
yeah,
parts of you, right?
it makes me emotional because I know in motherhood how weak we can feel sometimes, or we convince ourselves we are. And when you continue on the trajectory of healing and even spirituality, coming back to yourself, and you look back and you're like, actually, I'm pretty fucking strong, you
Hell
know?
yeah.
So it's like going back and being like, wow, I was there. And now I think, when you're in it, you're like, why me, why me, why me? And it's because you are going to be used as a messenger for someone in the future, and you're going to be somebody's light in their tunnel. And I
Mm.
now believe that.
I love that. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing. And that's what you do in your work too, right? Which brings it now, like everything that you've experienced, all that you've learned, your wisdom, your growth, the healing, and the hardships, like just everything, right? The hard work that you put in, the hard experiences that you have felt, and now through your work is where you find the purpose to bring this out, having heart-to-heart conversations with your clients and helping them in that way, like you said, being that light in their dark tunnel, right?
right.
I love that. Thank you for sharing so much. I love that. So beautiful. I really thank you so much for being here. And I know we're running up on time a little bit because you got to go, but maybe you can just answer one more question. Like, what does holistic health and healing mean to you right now, where you're at, as a mom, entrepreneur, as opposed to maybe how you maybe thought it was?
So, holistic health and healing is, to me, is getting as far away from Western medicine as I can. And so, um, I'm not for someone that is for prescriptions. I do think they serve their purpose, but on a day-to-day basis, like, I would rather, use plant medicine than I would, a prescription pill. But in addition to that, I think holistic healing and health to me is really going back to whole food diet, and really not consuming processed food, packaged food, and really using just vegetables and fruits, like things that you can grow in your garden. And I have also done so many diets, you guys, because of my line of work and because of having acneic skin. And I will say that I kind of can back up eating for your blood type just for the purpose of slowing inflammation in your body. And I feel that when I do eat for my blood type, my acne is pretty gone.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I think that eating for your blood type does serve a purpose in not causing inflammation in your body. And I just urge people to, if you have an issue, if you have a migraine, if you have pain in your body, you have any symptom that isn't normal, that you start with diet first and going back to a whole food diet and taking out packaged things or high sugar, things like that. I'm not a dietitian. I'm just saying what's worked for me.
Yeah,
um,
of course. Speaking from
uh,
your experience.
yeah, so from speaking from experience, just very, I also love meat, so I'm very carnivore. Um, and I just really urge people to go back to the earthy things, the simple
Hmm.
things, don't complicate them.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
simple foods. Exactly. I love it. Well, I mean, you've pretty much, yeah, taken a holistic approach to your health through your mental health, taking a different approach to your therapy, right? To working with the midwives and having a beautiful holistic birthing experience, to your acupuncture, to your plant medicines, like really taking a beautiful holistic approach to health. And it's just an endless, like, just going different ways and trying different things. And it's not meant to be rigid. It's meant for you to be flexible and to trying what works for you, right? I think that's also what's most important. And before I let
Yes.
you go, because there was one things from your Instagram post that I really liked, and I was just like, oh, I like that. It was on, I think it was when you were talking about your podcast and you were introducing your podcast. You shared skincare is sacred and connection is medicine. So, what do those words mean to you?
So I say skincare is sacred because I have had a compliment when I was doing a facial, and I was in beauty school, guys. I wasn't in the industry yet. So I had just been newly trained, and she told me that I had the hands of an angel. And there's a lot of times that I'm massaging people. So, like, people that don't know, I do a European facial, and yes, we do some skin stuff, but it's really more about the touch. And there's been so many people that start crying after I massage them, or they're like, oh my God, like people will just like blurt out, I love you. And they're like, oh my God, I really needed this. Like, thank you. And they're just giving me my accolades. And so I'm just like, wow, my touch really does something to someone. So, yeah, skincare is very sacred. It's very healing. I mean, touch is very intimate. I think me coming from my history of like I don't like to be touched, I'm opening up to it, and I'm like, wow, actually, touch does a lot of things for people. um, and so, yeah, I just think skincare is very sacred. And what was the other one? Connection is medicine. So, yeah, that is honestly my motto, and I feel like we need to make some merch together, Marissa, on that. Because yeah, I think that people get their dose when they come here, and
Mm,
my connection is medicine to them. It heals them. It gives them perspective. I've had people come and be treated unfairly by their partner, and I kind of open up their eyes to like, maybe you should do this. Or sometimes I'm even like, hey,
mm,
read this book. This really helped me. And within
mm.
time, it's like things heal and they find their power again and they release that relationship. And so I get to see people in their rawest form. I see pregnant mamas. I see divorced people. I see married people. I see adopted parents. I see every realm of woman that I could find here.
Wow.
And it just reminds me that the one thing we all have in common is connection.
Mm. Thank you so much. That is so beautiful. Yeah, I guess we're almost running up on time, but how can the listeners want to connect with you? What is the best way?
So I have my Instagram page, glowingthroughit.beauty, and it's my whole brand. So you'll see some things I'll, post about service, other things I'll post quotes, other things I'll post podcasting stuff. So it's kind of just getting to know me. In the stories is kind of where a lot of the stuff happens. I'm the worst at posting, so bear with me. But I like to be, I'm kind of just like someone that's just like, oh, this seems cool today. So, like, you'll get to see
Hmm.
my daughters on there. Sometimes I'm at a cheer game. Sometimes I'm, reminding you to come back to yourself. Like, sometimes I'm sitting at cheer practice
Mm.
and I'm walking the track or I'm doing yoga.
Hmm.
And so I'll post that and be like, it's 2 hours before sundown. Maybe you should go outside and walk or do something today. I do post a lot of my cooking. And that's a lot of things we connect on. People come in here, they're like, those ribs you made, Ashley. I'm like, you should have called me, dude. I had extra. So, just
Nice.
kind of posting day to day things. Like, I don't want to just be this image that people see that is just kind of like this brand photo. I'm also human, and I also relate to you guys, and I do the simple day to day things that you guys do. So
Yeah,
it's our way to connect. Yeah.
for sure. Seeing like what your day to day is like in motherhood and when you're working or in your personal life and your personal healing journey. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Ashley. So grateful that you have been here with us and being so real with us about motherhood. And really, motherhood is just full of like so many angles. Like there's beauty and struggle. And our conversation today was definitely a reminder of that, right? We can hold both. And to all the mamas listening, right? If you're in a hard season, I hope this is your reminder that you're not alone. You don't have to carry it all by yourself. And that healing starts with small steps, right? And hopefully you have somebody that you can lean onto for support. And if not, there's always, reach out to myself, reach out to Ashley, reach out to somebody, because we care and we want to help you in whatever way we can, right? Even if it's just listening. So thank you all for sharing this space with us today. And if you feel called to share, if you have a story that you want to share with us, please just send me a DM, and I'd love to talk to you and learn more about your story. So thank you so much, Ashley, for taking the time out of your busy day. Really appreciate you and sharing your beautiful healing story. So inspiring. You've done so much. You're so strong and resilient, and you're doing such amazing work on yourself and for your children. And thank you really for being here. I appreciate it. It's been so nice connecting with you.
Thank you, Marissa, for having me.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Y'all take care, and we'll catch you on the next one.